Hello and welcome to Media Academy Online, and welcome to this very special series that we're starting. In this new series, Animation Diaries, we're going to remove the veil and explain the processes that both me and Brandon go through in creating an animated film. This has been something that's been months in the making, and we're still at the very early stages of making this animation. So that's why we decided to document our process, so we can take you along for the ride, and you can understand what's involved with making your very own animations. So with that said, let's begin Animation Diaries Episode 1. So we first discussed working together from the very beginning, creating content, creating films together. And we actually had worked together on a number of student films back when we were studying, so we already knew that we could work together quite well and that we'd get along without any issues. So about the middle of last year, I put the question to Brandon if he'd like to work with me on a new animation.
Oh, it's so exciting. I'm amped up.
So can't wait to see those come alive, movement, and
yeah.
It's really cool.
I've been making animated films for over a decade now, and I've won a lot of awards doing so. So it's something that I have a lot of experience in, and I understand like the back of my hand. For example, Toby and the Runaway Kite.
Dangers which exist in the big city, quickly he ran down through the streets, unmindful of the ongoing around him, until he found himself out of Metropolis and into a forest, less noisy and more peaceful.
Shorty. And a number of other ones, not to mention all of the commercial projects that I've worked on in the past. And me and Brandon have been working together for a few years now. We originally met back in film school, where we were learning these skills.
Yeah, it's good for like bands and a bit of exposure and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So the culture's been down in Frankston, don't we? You know, we have to travel basically to go see it. So it's good to bring it down this way, you know.
And now, over a decade later, we are now working together on our very own project. And so in this series, I'm going to explain the processes that we went through, the hurdles, and all of the artistic changes that we made along the way. I had this idea that had been floating around for many years. The film idea was called The Elixir of Life, and it's a story that explored a few different things. It explored the importance of nature. It explores humanity and, if we could discover the elixir of life, what would that do to society? And it would also explore the lengths that, human beings, the distances they would go in order just for, selfish means, like the ability to live forever. This was our original concept, and so we actually had sat down discussing this idea for quite a while. Doing its thing, running around, and then it moves up, shows the forest, and starts telling the story from there.
Yeah.
But the point is saying that these are homes to these animals. And so when the story goes on and they destroy that home, it's kind of got like a context there.
Yeah.
Like a nice way of treating
the
city. So this is based in 1800s.
Yeah.
Europe,
London
kind of thing.
/
Yeah. So it's sort of like oldie days, but it's I'm not being too specific.
No,
too accurate.
that must be even a different world.
Yeah, in a different universe.
Yeah.
So this one's probably too detailed. Yeah.
A bit gangly, maybe. Maybe a bit of
Pimply.
maybe even a bit of a haircut that's not well maintained.
Yeah.
So it's a bit scruffy. With some junk and stuff on it. Yeah, whatever.
Nice.
And maybe gloves or something.
Yeah.
Just to make them a bit cool.
We had characters, we had a overall story. It was originally just going to be a short 10-minute film, and it ended up growing and growing to the stage where it's effectively a feature film concept. I had animatics made, so if you're not sure what an animatic is, it's basically the film made, but with very rough sketches and other movement. Everything is basic and simplified, just so that you can explain your idea without actually having a final product. It means you can explore the story and make sure the story is rock solid before you go ahead and create the final film. All animations do this. They will always create an animatic that explains the process, that explains the story, explains the characters, but it's very basic. And then you can give the animatics to the animators and they will look at this and say, okay, I understand what goes on in this scene. So they can use that as their reference to create the final scene. And here's just a little bit of the animatic that I'd made.
Grandson, come here. I want to show you something. When I was your age, my grandfather took me to plant trees just like this one. Now I'm going to do the same with you. When a plant dies, we replace it with a fresh seed. This is the cycle of nature. It's a tight balance which can be broken oh so easily. So we must do our bit by planting this seed. All it takes is a little bit of water. And it's also the story of a brilliant man that I knew, a scientist, no smarter than any ordinary researcher. But what he was to discover made him the luckiest, most enviable man around. Or so it seemed.
So watching this animatic, I think you can understand enough about the style and the meaning of the story. The problem we had though is that it kept growing. It was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And as much as I'd really love to make this story, since this is the first time me and Brandon had worked together, we said we might be biting off a bit more than we can chew. Obviously I've had a lot of experience in the past, and Brandon's had a lot of experience with his illustrations and graphic design and all of that. So we've both got experience, but we hadn't worked together in this way before, creatively. So we said, right, let's just park this idea, let's put it to the side, we'll come back to it. But for now, let's create a smaller project that's just a few minutes long. We'll really just get our feet wet in creating the ideas and the stories that we wanted to create. So this is where the idea that I had, which was a lot more art house, a lot more stylized, but it also had that meaningful, deep thought processes involved when the viewer watches it. And that's the important thing about a lot of these films, is that I like to insert a lot of meaning, and especially as I get older, I become a lot more, wiser to society and things that are around us. And also seeing a lot more art, and I'm inspired by a lot more different styles of content. So I came up with this idea, which is effectively, a little girl. The little girl basically goes on a journey. Without explaining too much, it's very hard to understand the idea, but it's effectively a journey that this character will go on with these whales. So it involves a mother whale, a son or a daughter whale, and it involves this little girl, and they're going to go on a journey together. Now, because this is art house, we can experiment and try different things. So the whales actually aren't in the ocean. They're actually in the air. This is a new universe. This is a new place. Without giving too much away just yet, because the story is still getting ironed out, that's the premise. You might still be a bit confused of what it's about, but I just hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of at least the visual direction. You can picture exactly what the story's about. So changing the story, that's where we are now. So both me and Brandon agreed with this new direction. We're parking all of the other characters, all the other character development we're doing for that original film. That's going to come. That's definitely a story that we'd like to explore, but for now we're going to stick with this smaller story that is more of a visual exploration, and we can also play around with the sound design. Brandon, with his background in sound engineering, he can go to town on creating some amazing soundscapes, amazing, scores, all of that stuff. And really, hopefully we can create a super amazing experience for people. This one's not going to have any dialogue, so there's no lip syncing that needs to be done. It focuses mainly on, this story that we're trying to explain.
We're doing this for fun, so we can flex and get back into the animation vibe again, because we've spent a while away from it and we've been focusing on just doing the YouTube videos. So we kind of want to get back into it and just have fun. So it's not like we're going to spend forever on this. It's sort of a small project that will hopefully turn into more projects, and maybe this will spiral into a bigger thing down the track. But for now, it's just, let's keep it simple as simple can be, manageable. We're both busy people, so we don't have time to be mucking around. So get on with it and get something done. Get something that we like visually, and then we can animate it, add some sound to it. I'm going to be doing sound, maybe get BYGONE Botanical, Daniel, my cousin, doing some music. Maybe I'll collaborate with him. He's the guy that supplied and created all the music for all of our videos. He's our main man, and he is highly talented in that field, so we might as well utilize him any way we can.
So this put us on a new trajectory. So the next step we had to focus on was developing our characters, and that brings us to episode 2. So I'll see you in the next episode. Fine-tuning it so that it actually, the character does resonate to the audience, so it doesn't just look like an emotionless figure. We need it to emote emotion. I've proved it with Toby, so it can be done. It's just a matter of fine-tuning, and it's going to, that last mile is probably going to be the hardest part to overcome.
And that's when things get real exciting too, because it's like you've gone up the summit, you're coming down the summit, and now it's a matter of like sticking the landing. And when you stick the landing, it sings, and it just all of a sudden becomes magic. That's who the magic is, you know? The whole process up until that point is you don't know if it's gonna really take off. And when it just hits that spot, the sweet spot, you know, you can be proud of it. Thanks for watching Mini Academy Online. If you'd like to explore more of our content, click on this or click on that. Like and subscribe, thumbs up, ring bells, do a dance, sing a song, drink a hot cup of tea or coffee, and I'll see you in the next one.